everydaytaichi. Let's warm up. Hands at your waist, turn your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Expand your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Waist exercise. Look at the heel of your opposite foot. Stretch out those arms. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Airplane. Stretch out your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Touch toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Be careful. Shift your weight. Kick your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your butt. 1, 2, 3. Shift your weight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heisman. Opening up your span, parallel feet, choose one side, sit on that side. Good Tai Chi posture. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Short one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get that stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Good Tai Chi posture. Growing a little taller all the time. See, whatever it takes for you to inch up and grow a little taller is very important. Usually it means stretching out your spine, including your neck and your head muscles. Dropping your shoulders, tucking your butt, chin down, glance way ahead. Nice positive thoughts, opening up your span. Golden cockle on its left. Last set. Kicking out, 50-50, center. Soft movements. Last set. Holding your ball in the T stance, root down, make everything perfect, okay? But relax in the process. Holding your ball nicely, good Tai Chi posture, spine and head straight up. Out on an L, move that ball, part the wild horse's mane. Stretch. Sit back, sit down, rolled into one, twist step, hold your ball, bring those arms and shoulders in, out on an L, move that ball. Good energy, Pong energy. Sit back, sit down, pivot, center, out, stretch. Getting our relaxation in, sit back, twist, center, not in any rush, hands go for the ride. As you stretch, your arm stretches out. Sit back, sit down, rolled into one. Twist step, T stance, L stance, O stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, T and ball, bring it in. L and ball, O stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, ball and T, out and to the side, ward off. Give me my space, turn your hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail as they go for the ride. Contact push, going for the ride, wearing your mittens. Spiral forward, sit back, sit down, center, out on an L, ward off. Turn the hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail, look back, sit back, turn, contact, flush, push. Separate, hands go for the ride. spiral forward. Sit back, sit down, pivot, ball and T, out on an L, grasp the bird's tail. Give me my space, grasp the bird's tail. Sit down, sit back. Turn square, push out that energy and roll back. And spiral forward. Sit back, sit down, pivot, ball and T, out on an L. Give me my space. Turn the hips and waist. Grasp the bird's tail. Look back, sit back, turn, contact, push out that energy and roll back. And roll forward. Sit back, sit down, parallel higher on a T. Both hands work as a spiral. Sit back, sit down, multitask. Ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist. Press your knee. Hands definitely go for the ride. Multitask. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist. Let out that energy, stretch. Sit back, sit down. Parallel higher on the T. Where are your spirals? Long energy. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Multitask on a T. Ear, hand, heel. Where is that energy? Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Parallel higher. Multitask. Inflate. Sit back, sit down. Parallel higher is by your shoulder. You're bringing it down as you come to your ear. Turn your hips and waist. Sit back, sit down, listen carefully. Hold your ball on the T stance. Out into an L, part the wild horse's mane. Flip the hand and join it. Sit back, sit down. 12 o'clock, pivot out. Close the feet. Middle or cup, cloud hands. 3 o'clock, open. Middle or cup, only flip meet. Middle or cup, flip meet, close your stance. Middle or cup, flip meet, open. Middle, only flip meet. Shift your weight up, golden cockerel. Down, center up, golden cockerel. Down, center, up, and out. In, down, center, out. Holding our ball on a T stance. We're going to ward off. Give me my space. Turn the hips and waist. Grasp the bird's tail. Pull back, look back. Turn, contact. Push out that energy. Separate shoulder width and roll back. And where's your spiral? Forward. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Center. Out on an L. Ward off. Turn the hips and waist. Grasp the bird's tail. Hands go for the rod. Sit back, sit down. Contact, push. Separate, roll back. Spiral forward. How do we close? Sit back, sit down. Pivot, pivot. In, off the ground. Tuck. Rotate as you elevate. Chest level, hands are face, palms are facing. Pause. Push out, using your core and the energy of your left hand. Drop your shoulders, make sure your hands go for the ride. Heel up, off the ground, toe down, heel down. Slightly elevate. Yang 24. Commencing form. Open. Rotate. Elevate with a deep breath. Push down. Center. Part the wild horse's mane. Long energy. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Center. L. Second party. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. L. Final part on your wild horse's mane. Half step forward. Spin the ball to the right. Lift up the left foot. Point. White crane spreads its wings. Drop your front foot as you bisect. Look back at your right hand. Lift up the front foot. Press your knee. Stretch. Sit back, sit down. Parallel higher. Bring it to your ear. Set out your hand. Brush knee 2. Good timing. Sit back, sit down. Ear and hand, turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Half step forward. Spin your ball. Rock your foot. Set on your heel. Playing your lute. Center, look at your target. Rise up, turn, lift by your toe, lead by your toe. Repulsing of the monkey. Center. Then glance, then lead with your toe, repulse 2, slide back, center, higher, glance, lead with the toe, repulse 3, center, look, up, modify that foot, pulse 4. Hold your ball on a T stance. Root down. Out on an L. Give me my space. Turn your hips and waist. Grasp the bird's tail as you sit down, sit back. Hands go for the ride again as you push out. Hands definitely go for the ride with all that energy that you have stored. Sit back, sit down, pivot, take it slowly, T and ball, bring it in, out on an L, give me my space, turn the hips and waist. People who are going faster need to check to see whether that energy is being expended and not moving your hands just for the sake of moving your hands. Your hands are attached to your body, therefore the energy is taking it for a ride. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, cup, open step, cup, hook, T, out. Hands go for the ride as you open, palms out. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, cup, parameter 1 cloud hands. Look beyond your fingertips. Flip meet, close your stance. Middle or cup. Flip meet, open, use your hips and waist. Middle. Flip meet, close your stance. Middle. Flip meet, open your stance. Middle. Flip meet, close your stance. Middle, T, hook, across, out, hands go for the ride. Second single whip, wear your mittens. Half step, sit back, up with your front foot as you pat your horse. Cross, step out with your left heel, expansive ellipse, up center, kick out. In, drop gently away from the back foot on an L stance, look through your double punch. Sit back, sit down, pivot all the way around, left foot, left hand up, kick out in line. In, toe, down, veer to the left, set, up, golden cockerel. Toe, spin, hook, split, down, veer to the right, set, up, golden cockerel. Extend the knee, heel down, hold your ball. Heel out, roll, maiden on her right. Sit back, sit down. Pivot out, hold your ball, heel, hand, roll, maiden on her left. Half step to the back. Cross your hips and waist, set up the top hand, needle to the bottom of the C. One hand, join it with the other, touch, flash arms like a fan. Sit back, sit down, pivot, up and down on your toe, deflect to the right, across the midline, parry, punch, touch, open your fingers, then roll back, spiral forward, sit back, sit down, open, open, in, tuck the right hand, as you elevate, rotate to chest level, pause, push out. Wear your mittens that were never taken off when trading for your gloves. Heel up, off the ground, toe down, heel down. So you're going to watch first, and I call this a circle deflect parry and punch drill. So basically it's this, okay, and you're going to watch and then I'm going to give you time to drill. 2 feet on 2 different lines, opposite lines, 45 the back foot. Get a good span and wear it this way. High, low. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Shift your weight, high and low, or up and down. Deflect. Bring that backhand in over the midline. Bring it back, parry and punch. Okay? Then the next angle, start in this way. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Fist, toe, up, down. Kick out to deflect. Bring it over to the midline. Foot comes out, parry, punch. So each time you do this, you get the feel, you see the angle, you try to put into play that the body has the movements all within your own system and everything is smooth. When we kind of take it apart, we lose some of that wholeness that we want to achieve. So there are different ways and different strategies to break it down, to learn it, but it's basic like this. Okay. Comes down, comes back, because it's almost like that's a counterbalance right there. When I kick out, my hand, it deflects, and I bring it this way. So it's here, and then it comes around here. Here, and it comes around here. Midline, at least to your midline. This is what I would do. I would get it as much as you can in what we do at class. Let that rest within you and absorb it mentally, physically. Then go back and just keep on watching it. Then try to incorporate and then inch into refining. When we break it down, and I know this for all movements, when I break it down and I actually do it, there's some fudge factor. There's some, maybe fudge is not the right word, but you need to flow. But when I take it apart and it's in a still position, it's not as good as if you could see the whole picture. And I think that goes with everything that we learn. Sometimes seeing the whole is better than seeing all the minutia and then trying to piece it all together, because there's something lost in that. So this is what I would do, okay? And then let's practice, okay? And I know you won't see, and that's some of the problem. You can't see the motion because I'm turning, you're turning, and there's never an ideal situation for the instructor and for the learner. So we're going to start actually looking at the court. 2 feet on 2 opposite lines. Drag the right foot back at 45 and then bend that front knee and ask yourself, are you comfortable with that span? If you are, then you're going to put your hands together. And we also, I have to remind you, when we flash arms as a fan, like a fan, remember the back or right hand is higher. So if it's higher, how are you going to determine how high it is? Well, after you go to the needle at the bottom of the C, you actually bring both hands and touch, and whatever you touch remains with that hand that's lower, that's its level, and the other one pulls back higher. Is that how flash arms like a fan? Okay, and we'll go over that after that, okay? All right, sit back. Okay, so you flashed arm, okay? High and low, wearing your mittens. Sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, lower, kick, deflect, bring it through the midline, parry, punch. It gets better as you do it, okay? Flash arms like a fan, wearing your mittens. Sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, up, down, toe, out with your heel, bring that back hand over the midline to parry and punch. All the way back to your elbow. Flash arms like a fan, wearing your mittens. Sit back, sit down, pivot, toe, fist, up, down, heel out, deflect, swing that shoulder and left hand through your midline to parry, to punch. Flash arms like a fan. Sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, toe, out, heel, deflect, swing it in, out with your heel, parry and punch. Last one. Flash arms. Sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, toe, deflect, swing it in, out with your heel, parry, punch. Okay, for needle at the bottom of the C, let's go back a little bit, okay? So it's easier maybe to demonstrate. Remember, we're not going down this way, not necessarily just the back, but the needle is not down there. The needle is at an angle because you're aiming at someone's your opponent's mid area, okay? So it's down this way. One hand, two hands, foot, touch, flash arms like a fan. So once you touch here, it's designating where that front hand is going to, what level it's going to be, and all you're doing is pulling it back. Pulling it back, getting that good stretch. Then go back into your sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, up, down, deflect, bring it in, across, then out. Okay? Can we try that going forward? I think is fine. Is that right? Okay. All right, needle at the bottom of the C, okay? 2 feet on 2 different opposite lines, drag the back one, close in, left hand going across your hips and waist, right? And then right hand getting ready to go on an angle, okay? Ready, lift, needle at the bottom of the C. One hand, two hands, foot, touch, flash arms like a fan. Sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, toe, deflect, cross the midline, join it with the foot, parry, punch. One more time to get back, flash arms, Flash arms like a fan. Sit back, sit down, pivot, fist, toe, kick out with a deflect, over the midline to parry and punch. Okay, now with the needle at the bottom of the C, okay? So set up your right hand, you know it's going on an angle, you know that you're gonna have to go down like this. And this right hand is a counterbalance hand. It has a big job, okay? To keep you in good Tai Chi posture. Set up the right hand, down to the bottom of the C. Angle it, one hand, two hands, then your foot. Start in the middle, touch. Establish your level, wear your mittens, flash arms like a fan, okay? 2 feet on two opposite lines, 45, we're gonna needle it, okay? Down to the bottom of the C. Up, 1, 2, foot, touch, flash arms. One more time. Touch, establish, stretch. One more time. Okay, then say, are you wearing your mittens? Just bring your fingers, 4 fingers closer together, or separate your thumb. There's several things that I want to talk about, and one is we started early to say that we're in Tai Chi to keep our bodies and mind active, but we also are coming here for relaxation. So how do you get relaxed? You listen to the music, you have no abrupt movements. That's why I said stretch with your movement. Don't make it short and, I want to say short and forceful. Okay, keep everything soft. But the real way to keep, or one of the biggest strategies to keep relaxed is you have to ebb and flow. Well, what is ebb and flow? Is it the ocean? Yes, but within ourselves, we have to establish and define what is the fullness and then what is the relaxation or the flow. But they go together. The better you can define what is the fullness, you can then come away from it, flow, and have that ebbing and flowing that will give you more relaxation. So whenever I say stretch, and I don't know if you've seen the lesson from the 16 last week, we said stretch. Stretch to the point where if Ken came, and he's coming, he would see whether my Pong energy, wait now, he's going to show me, show you whether at the stretch, whether I have enough energy established to define what is the fullness. Okay, go ahead. And then more than my hands, it's not just my hands. Where else, Ken? Up at my shoulder.
Here, and also legs.
And what about my legs? No, it's, so if I only let him do my hands, that's only half the story. The energy and the fullness comes from everything, your whole system. So the fullness is there because you want to hold your ground, not stiffen up, but to inflate like a balloon or a ball where you're fully expanded and whole, firm, form, shape, so that your form and your shape is parting of the wild horse's mane, is established. If you can define that and grow into a stronger, development of your Pong energy. When you then sit back, it's a relaxation right there. Relaxation and ebbing and flowing. This is almost like a Pong, because you're establishing your shape, but the most of it is coming at the final parting of the wild horse's mane. So although you do not see me, and I've never meant to say and make you do a tensing up like that, that's not what I'm trying to explain to you. It is more of a fullness. So you know that balloon is gradually inflating and it ends right here. So the opposite would occur, and it's not Tai Chi and will not give you as much relaxation, although initially you feel that it does, where you would part the wild horse's mane and be a rag doll. So anybody could just push me over. That's not the kind of relaxation we're looking for. We're not looking for that because it's too, you're not being able to keep your shape, you're not being able to keep your form, you're not inflating. So what we want to do is establish that inflated balloon feeling and the sensation within your body. Okay, so it's a little deep, but I feel that, you know, you should know things at an early age, early stage, and then try to incorporate it because the benefits are greater.
Just to slightly amplify on trying to get yourself to holding your own ground. You're holding, and people have described it as a feeling of not pushing, not tension, not in terms of pushing in one particular direction. They describe it as if you're trying to stretch yourself. So you're stretching, for instance, if you're doing this, you're stretching down to the ground. You're not trying to push down to the ground, but you're stretching all of your limbs, similarly your legs. You're stretching them to give you that sense of being able to hold it. And it's a static position, not if the guy pushes you and you're going to pop out like this. If he pushes you, you stay here. He pulls you, you stay here. Okay, that's, and to avoid pushing in any direction, you get this, what I think they're trying to do is get you to just put this, I guess in some ways rigidness, but more of a increased tone by, firmness by taking the concept as if you're stretching, or like in this case, you're going to hold your ball. They give the analogy of saying it's like holding an inflated ball, and you're not pushing down, you're not doing this, but you're sort of making all the power sort of go along your limbs. You're stretching your limbs as if they're going in a round direction, but in doing so, you get this firmness. Let me go through deflect, parry, and punch, just to sort of maybe help you understand what I think we're trying to do. If we start off here, coming down, bottom, needle to the bottom of the seat, this hand comes very gently to the side, and you end up balancing down here, 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 here. They're all trying to center, okay? So it's not just dropping your hand here, it's, okay? And then when you've finished doing that, you come up here, as she says. You can touch or get very close in proximity, but you're basically setting the position of your hands. Once you know that this is where you're going to be, this hand will come forward, and this hand comes back to sort of protect your head. You don't want to be out here. You don't need to be out here. That's good enough, okay? And then when you come back, sit back, this hand comes down, and this converts to a fist. And this, I guess, can function as a block or a disguise, okay? And then I've seen it where this hand, your specific question, what do you do with this hand? So far, here, some people have just waited and then come forward. And coming forward, there's some degree of turning, but there's also some degree of forward movement, like we talk about, right? Linear movement, or linear movement from here to here, rotatory movement from here to here. You're coming this way. So that's the hand coming out to give you the parry, okay? So another way that I prefer is if I'm here, I come down, my hand is down here, and then I do a spiral. It seems to give me more time to figure out what am I going to do with this leg. Here, as I'm turning this, I'm turning from here, I'm getting ready to advance linearly because I've already got the energy to do this, but here in the spiral will come across, okay?
24. 24 is the standard. So some of you say, hey, but I never learned the 16. And some say, I learned the 16, but it's so hard. And I'm saying, you know what, be satisfied with the 24 because that's the gold standard. That's where everything comes, where all the other forms come from. You know, I know that you watch us, you watch YouTube, you have your favorite people that you like to see, enjoy, learn from, because some speak or say it in a different way that's more understandable. But just remember that we're all interpreting it in our own way. And when I faced my master over 10 years ago, and I said, hey, can you check me on this? I didn't call him hey, right? But then I did it for him, and he nodded, and he said, it's okay, it's your interpretation, okay? So just like what you see with your colleagues, the students in your class, somebody's doing it a little bit different, but yet they have the same teacher. So in the end, you do Tai Chi in your own style, but not to the point where you're redoing a choreographed rendition. You're trying to uniform, but at the same time have some identity. We're all people, but we're each unique, sort of a parallel right there. So for the most part, I know that I have really conscientious students. Sometimes it bothers me because they're too conscientious, and then they're sticklers for minutia. But that's good, and then sometimes back off, see the whole picture, and then work from there. Okay, and let yourself grow over a period of time. If I've been teaching for 10 years, learned for 5 years, and Ken beyond that when he started Tai Chi. The journey is very long, and yet we're still learning, and yet we're still refining. Okay, so far we are proud of you. So take it from there as a positive feedback. All right, let's end. Commencing form. Open. Deep breath. Push down, make yourself small, tuck your elbows and wrists, shoulders, hold your ball. Heart the wild horse's mane. Get that good stretch and energy. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, center, move that ball in the L, roll stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, center, heart the wild horse's mane. Half step forward, hold your ball, spin the ball to the right, lift up your hand, lift up your foot, point. White crane spreads its wings, weight on the back. Drop your front foot, bisect your body, look back, spiral, multitask, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, up to your shoulder, bring it down, bring it to the ear, spiral forward. Sit back, sit down, pivot, Brush knee, 3. Half step forward, hold your ball, half spin the ball, rock the front foot, set, lay your loot. Drop your front foot, look at your target, glance, lead with your toe, repulse of the monkey, 1. Glance, lead with your toe, repulse, 2. Center, glance, repulse, 3. Center higher, repulse, final. Hold your ball in the T-stance, grasp the bird's tail. Turn the hips and waist, hands go for the ride. Contact, push out that energy, roll back, spiral forward. Sit back, sit down, pivot, center, ward off. Turn hips and waist, sit down, look back, turn, move the hips and waist, contact, push, roll back. And spiral forward. Sit back, sit down, pivot, cup, cup, T, hook, first, single whip. Sit back, sit down, pivot, use your hips and waist, parameter 1, cloud hands. Flip, close your feet, middle, flip, open your foot, close your foot, and open, and close, and hook and T, and out, turn to the palm, half step, sit back, rock, up, catch your horse, cross, step out to the left, expansive ellipse, center, kick out, and in, gently on your heel, double punch. Sit back, sit down, pivot, all the way around, left foot, left hand, up, and out, and in, hook, toe, down, veer to the left, set, up, golden cockle. Toe, spin, serpent, down, turn, pivot, out, right, up, golden cockle. Extend the knee on an L, hold your ball, drop the left hand, roll the right, lead it on her right. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, hold your ball, heel, roll, push. Half step to the back, across your hips and waist, set up the top hand, down on an angle, needle to the bottom of the C, up, touch, arms, plan, stretch, sit back, sit down, toe, fist, kick out, deflect, parry, punch, touch, roll back, spiral forward. Keep that left hand up as you pivot, open, embrace, rotate, pause, push out. Drop your shoulders, hands go for the right as you relax. Okay, look 10, okay, 16. Commencing form. open, rotate, deep breath, elevate, push down. Make yourself small. Hold your ball, part the wild horse's mane 2 times. Out in an L, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down. Pivot out, hold your ball. Out in an L, here it is. Half step forward, hold your ball. Spin your ball to the left, look at your left hand. Set it down, white crane, spreads its wings. Drop your front foot as you bisect. Look back at your left hand that's higher. Bring it to your ear, set out your heel, brush knee 1. Sit back, sit down. Out, look at your right hand, bring it to the ear, brush knee 2. Sit back, sit down, as if you are doing another brush knee, fist, and deflect to the right, and parry, and punch. Touch, open your fingers, roll back, and spiral forward. Pivot on the back heel, pivot on the front heel, hook the back hand, T stands out and to the side, single whip. Half step forward, swirl the back hand, rock the front foot, play your lute on your heel. Center your front hand open, glance, lead with your toe, repulse of the monkey, only 2 times. 1, center, higher, lead with the toe, repulse, 2. Going to get fancy, pivot your front foot, pirouette the back foot, out with your heel, hold your ball, out with your heel, maiden on her left. Sit back, sit down, take an instep, hold your ball, out with your right heel, right hand rolls, maiden on her right. Half step to the back, no different, but different side, needle at the bottom of the C. 1 hand, 2 hands, touch, out with your heel, establish your level, flash arms like a fan. Sit back, sit down, 12 o'clock cup, 9 o'clock, flip the hands, middle cup, flip meet, close the foot. Cloud hands, open, flip, close, hold your ball on a T stance. We're going to ward off on an L. Give me my space. Turn the hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail. Look back, sit back, turn, square power edges. Wrist, spread out, roll back. Where's your spiral as you go forward? Sit back, sit down, pivot, hold your ball on a T, out and to the side. Give me my space. Turn the hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail. Look back, sit back. Hands go for the ride again and forever. Spiral forward. Sit back, sit down. Keep that hand high, open, in. Embrace the tiger or cross hands. Rotate on your wrists so at chest level you pause, push out, separate, drop your shoulders, make yourself small as you wear your mittens, heel, toe, heel, down. As we close our form.